title of this video, continual belief is not what saves. So there's this false idea out there that claims you must continually believe in Jesus to be saved. People who say you must be faithful to be saved. But what they don't see is that it's not faithfulness that saves us. It's one act of faith that puts you under God's grace, and God's grace is what saves you and keeps you saved till you die. Ephesians 2:8-9 reads, "For by grace are ye saved." Notice it's grace that saved you through faith. Like I said, through faith, God's grace saved you. And that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. The passage does not say, "For by faith are ye saved through grace." That's how these continual belief heretics would read it. No, it's, "For by grace are ye saved through faith." It's one act of faith, and by God's grace, he saves you and keeps you saved. Here's another passage in John chapter 5, verse 24. "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, and believeth on him that sent me, hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life." That's all there's to it. Any passage in the Bible that seems to contradict this, that seems to claim you must be faithful to be saved, we're not reading it into context. This passage, along with many others, says you have everlasting life the moment you simply trust in Jesus Christ as Savior. Jesus then promises that you won't be condemned. If a believer in Jesus went to hell because he stopped believing, then Jesus lied. You can still come into condemnation. And that's all this is. Those who claim that you can lose your salvation or go to hell because you stopped believing in Jesus are calling Jesus a liar. And that's as wicked as it gets. They're saying you can come into condemnation, the exact opposite of what Jesus preached. Ironically, if anyone has lost their salvation or has stopped believing in Jesus, it's them. They're rejecting this clear, bulletproof passage. That's total unbelief. You can't get around this. Once someone trusts Christ alone as Savior, they cannot go to hell. Anyone who denies that is currently an unbeliever. Now, certain people may say, well, what about someone who believes in Jesus as Savior then starts believing wrong? They're still saved according to your theology. Yeah, so what? We're still to consider them accursed, according to Galatians. I'm not going to buddy around with someone who believes wrong. But yeah, that's basically all I have. Continual belief is not what saves. It's one act of faith. Once you trust in Jesus as Savior, you're saved forever and you're promised you won't come into condemnation. God's grace keeps you saved.